Hey you guys, and welcome back. Now, before we get into the video, there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention because I didn't know if you had seen them or not. Now, the first thing is that the current administration just announced that they are actually going to be moving the embassy over to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv sometime in May of this year. And they said that was just going to be symbolic. So the embassy isn't going to be built fully by that time. I'm guessing that they're just going to probably just set up an office there and just have that be their location, but it won't be like the final building. As I said before in a previous video, they said that they were going to try to have it built, the actual embassy built in sometime in 2019. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, as you know, they are working towards or planning to rebuild the third temple over in Israel, the people who are currently living there now. So they're doing things now to prepare for that. And one of the things that they're doing is that they are bringing back the shekel. And what they've decided to do is to create it and have the image of it on the front be a picture of both Trump and King Cyrus from the Bible. And then on the back is going to be a picture of the temple. And I'm guessing they're doing this to try to raise money because they're going to create the shekel and then they're going to sell it. I don't know if they're doing it as a commemorative piece first, and then when the temple is built, they're going to use that as offerings. I'm not sure. But I'm going to include a link to that story down in the description box. And as you can imagine, the rapture-ready Christians are just so thrilled and excited about this because they had been saying that Trump was King Cyrus, not realizing that the Babylonian captivity ended under King Cyrus. And if he's King Cyrus and the people in the land are the people from the Bible, then they've already been freed from their captivity and have returned home from exile. So I'm not exactly sure how they're putting two and two together, that, you know, King Cyrus was the one where the Babylonian captivity was ended under, but the people are there in Israel saying that they are the people from the Bible, so they've already been freed from captivity. I don't know, honey. I just don't understand. I don't understand. I'm going to leave it at that, okay? I'm not going to try to wear my little brain cells out trying to make sense of that. But yeah, I'm going to include a link down in the description box. And if it makes sense to you, if you can make sense of it, can you please come back and explain it to me, please? So that I can understand too. Thank you. Okay. So I wanted to talk about a couple of dreams that I had last year. The first one, I had that one prior to last year's solar eclipse. And the second one, I believe I had that one probably about a month later, a month after then. But in the first dream, again, I was shown a huge, gigantic map of the United States. And it was so huge, it was almost like I was standing in the room and watching what was going on. But the map was so huge that it was big enough for people to actually walk on, right? And these were North Koreans. That was my understanding in the dream, was that this was North Korea that I was looking at. So not only were there people standing on the map, but there were also tanks located on the map. Okay, and the tanks were like in rows, like they were in diagonal rows, and they started like to the left side of Mississippi and Tennessee, and they went out west. And so it would be like a row of tanks and then space, and then a row of tanks and then space. And then there was a man that was walking on the map and was pointing to different areas on the map, and I'm guessing that he was talking to someone. He wasn't talking to me. I don't know if he was giving a presentation or what was going on, but he was talking to someone, and it looked like he was like coordinating things, like he was coordinating these tanks and coordinating, okay, well, this goes here and that one goes there. And then the last thing that I heard before that scene of the dream ended was he pointed up towards the northwest end of the United States. And he said something like, and up here, there's a community of black people, and that equals total destruction. And as I said, he was pointing to like the northwest part of America, like up towards the northwest, up towards Canada on that side of of the world, of that side of the country. And what I got from that is that he was trying to, whoever this was that was speaking, was trying to make sure that he got everybody. It wasn't just, he wasn't singling out black people. It was just, he wanted to make sure he didn't miss anybody. It was just like total destruction. And when he finishes saying that, then I go to leave out of the room where I'm at, where the map is and all of that. And when I go through this door, that takes me into my house. And I'm in the hallway. And I'm walking towards the front of the house, and all of a sudden I hear something that sounds like someone is at the door. And so I stop to listen to try to see what's going on. And so I hear someone playing with the lock, like they're sticking the key in the door and they're turning it and they're trying to come in. And I know that no one should be coming in at this time, so I get into a panic and I stand there and I wait to see what's going on, okay? And so a man opens the door and sticks his head in, and I grab a stick and I start hitting him upside the head to try to get him to go back outside the house. And then I wake up. And what's so interesting is that when I wake up, I had forgotten to turn the TV off the night before. And most nights I leave the TV on, and most nights I'm watching some form of news. You know, I have it turned to some news channel. And so I had forgotten, I had went to bed, you know, I was in the bed, sleep, and I had forgotten to turn the TV off. So when I wake up, I can see like the words on the screen that they were talking about something was going on in North Korea. And I think that was when they were doing all of those drills and things like that, and testing those bombs and stuff, because I had the volume turned down, but I could still, like, you know, on the news channel they'll have like the title of whatever it is that they're talking about. And the reason why I wanted to share this dream with you is because I thought back to the dream that I had referenced a couple videos ago, the one that was talking about the bodies in the bins, and how I was saying that I thought that was saying that a lot of the death and destruction on the East Coast was going to come by water, and that the death and destruction that was going to occur on the West Coast was going to be coming from things going on the land. And then I thought about this dream and where those tanks were positioned and which direction they were pointed at. Now, when I'm looking at this and thinking about the things that I have read and seen, I don't necessarily think this is exactly what it seems like it means. It may be, but when I saw that, what I was thinking about was, I remember when they were doing over in North Korea, they were doing all of those tests on those bombs and dropping them, you know, in these various areas, and these other countries around them was saying how they could feel the aftershocks and all this other stuff. I remember that whenever they would do one of those tests, you will always see like a spike of activity here in the U.S. so far as like earthquake swarms and, you know, volcano activity and things of that nature. So I don't necessarily think that dream meant an attack so far as a military attack. But, and I don't know even if they're aware that testing those bombs is causing certain things to happen in the earth, so far as earthquakes and stirring up, you know, the volcanoes and making them angry and stuff like that. I don't even know if they're aware of that, or if they're just doing what it is that they want to do, and then that's the repercussion of them doing that. But I just learned today that there is also a super volcano over in North Korea, and the testing of the bombs is also agitating the volcano over there in that region as well. So there is a very real possibility that something that some country is doing in their country may affect the environment here in the U.S. And it may not necessarily be a military attack. Because if you've been paying attention, we've been seeing a lot of activity in volcanoes that are located in that ring of fire that I discussed with you back here. You know, the ring of volcanoes that runs from South America all the way up to Canada. So that was the first dream. The second one, I believe I had that one after, like a couple months after the first dream that I told you about. And in this dream, I was going out the front door and I was getting ready to get in my car. And right before I went to go and open the door on the passenger side, I guess I was getting ready to put something in the car, I looked up and it looked like there was something like over the moon, you know, like something over it, like a transparent sheet or something to where you could still see the moon through it. But it almost looked like an eclipse of the moon, but I could see the moon through whatever it was that was covering it. And I could see like the darker side of it that was to the left that wasn't covered by whatever object this was that was, over it, right? So if the object in front of it hadn't have been transparent, I would have only been able to see what looks like a crescent moon, just a little bitty sliver of the moon along the left side. So I hope you were able to hear me over that noisy car that just went by. But so I was outside standing at the car, and before I actually opened the car door, I looked up, and that's when I see the moon with something over it that looks like it's transparent, but looks like it's eclipsing the moon. Now, interestingly enough, there was sunshine out. I could see like the sunshine. I couldn't see the sun, but I could see the sunshine all around. But it was weird because it was like the sun was shining from behind me. Like I could see the rays of the sun from behind me, but there wasn't really any sun coming from like the front part, right? It wasn't like it filled the whole sky. It's like, if you had one of those ceiling fans with the 4 little arms that come out that you put light bulbs in. If you've ever had one of those and you only put in like one of the bulbs and leave the other 3 empty, if you stand under it, you can see the light like right above you. But like back on the other side where there are no light bulbs, it's kind of dark and dim. So you can see this light, but you can also see like the dimness. You can see where the light is coming from, and you can also see where there is an absence of light, right? It's not like completely and totally dark, but you can see the brightness of the sun coming from a particular direction, and you know that it's not enveloping like the whole area. And so I'm standing there just looking up at the moon, and I'm just staring at it. And all of a sudden, I didn't hear anything. All of a sudden I looked to my right, and it looked like this big gigantic planet or star or whatever. It's not like a meteor because it's not like strange shape. It's perfectly round, and it kind of puts me in that same kind of grayish, maybe light bluish color that you see with the moon, like dusty gray, maybe light bluish kind of look to it. And it's falling down. It's falling like straight down. And what's interesting is that when it's falling down, it's almost like there was something that was there, like a ceiling or something, because it looks like there's pieces falling just like it broke through something. And so when I see that and I see it coming straight down, like down towards the houses, I run to go get back in the house, to tell my family and the people who are in the house to get out, to come outside, because this huge planet or whatever is falling straight down. And before I could get into the house, I wake up. Now, I really don't know what that dream means, but trust and believe that every time I walk out the door, I'm looking straight up in the sky. I'm looking in the sky. I'm looking around the sky. I'm going, looking around the corner. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was interesting, because, and also when I was looking at the moon, when I noticed the crescent part, like the part that wasn't covered by that object that was in front of it, it was on the left. And so I've been paying attention to the moon, like the different phases of the moon, and I realized that the only time that the crescent part is on that side of the moon is when it's on the opposite direction, like when it's behind the house. But when it's in front of the house, when you see the moon there, the crescent part is on the right side, not the left. So I don't know if that means anything, but I thought that was interesting when I started paying attention to the moon. I just thought that was interesting. So I'm not going to make this video any longer. As I said before, I'm going to include the links to the things that I talked about at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to wrap this one up because I don't want it to get too long. But you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.